Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99 back on the fight front once again. Make sure y'all subscribe. Just back with another video for y'all. And this topic, I've been wanting to talk about. I'm actually talking about it on the Jab podcast that, I'm going to be putting out tonight. So make sure y'all subscribe to Jab podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, SoundCloud, wherever you listen to podcasts. We're going to be talking about that with my man Boxing P. But this was just a topic I want to cover here. So I'm probably going to be something I'm talking about until this fight potentially happens. Just a lot of stuff going on in the welterweight division. Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, they kind of been going at a war. They've been having a war of words on Twitter. Whether it's Terrence talking about the promoters, stop saying it's the promoters, this fight can happen, stop ducking me. Errol, he's over here saying that this fight can happen. Stop letting Bob be your boss. And we've heard it in the past, we've heard Errol call out these names, and more recently in the interview he did on with Brian Kenny, during the Harris and Charlo rematch, Errol mentioned everybody's name. He mentioned Danny Garcia, Manny Pacquiao, and Terrence Crawford as potential guys he want. And with all of this talk on Twitter, them going back and forth, they kind of have agreed to a fight, but there's so many people going crazy like this fight's going to happen 2020, like Crawford Spence 2020, like it's going to happen over the summer. But what a lot of people forgot was that Errol Spence has been in a car accident. He just got out of a car accident, and we really don't know what he looks like physically as far as his training. And the fact that him jumping in there with somebody as dangerous as Terrence Crawford really is a fight that I don't think a lot of people are going to back up. This fight still needs to build up, and a lot of people right now, whether they're on Crawford's team or they're on Spence's team, they're not gonna put Spence in there with Terrence Crawford right away, right after a serious car accident like it was. Granted, Errol Spence came out of there okay, unmarked, unscathed, basically. He's probably had some minor bumps and bruises as far as what we can see, but we don't know what's going on inside. He still has to put a lot of that to the test, whether it's in training, sparring, and maybe like a potential tune-up. So my thing is, a lot of people still have to understand, what he's saying as far as, I don't need a tune-up, I want the big fights. Management, trainers on both sides, they're not really going to go for that. Derek James, I know he's definitely not going to be the one to want Errol Spence right away in there against somebody like Bud Crawford. Hell, he wouldn't even want him in there at the rematch with Sean Porter yet. So you got to understand that before this fight even happens or even gets anywhere close to being signed, if it did happen, it would probably be at the end of 2020, but with my best guess, it would probably be 2021, and I would rather it be 2021 because we really don't know how Errol Spence looks, so we really need to see how he looks in a tune-up fight. So that being said, I do believe that Errol Spence does need a tune-up fight, just to make sure everything is okay, his punch resistance okay, and his chin's good. We just need to see that, not just for us, but for himself. I would rather honestly, for me, I would rather he took the whole year off from boxing. I'm not one of those ones that wants to see somebody go in there and die after some horrid accident. Me, honestly, since I am an Errol Spence fan, I would rather him just take the whole year off, just kind of rest up, recuperate. Even if he had to vacate a belt or two, that's fine. Keith Thurman, he's had to do it. He's had to do it with his injuries, and with somebody like Errol Spence, who's had more of a serious, trauma as far as this whole accident, it affects you mentally and physically. I would rather see somebody like Errol Spence just take the rest of the year off, and make sure he can get back right as far as just gym work and sparring work. But if he wanted to fight a tune-up at the end of the year, that's fine. If he wanted to take off the majority of this year and then come back in maybe September or November or December and fight the tune-up, that would be cool with me. But I definitely don't want to see him rush in there with the Terrence Crawford fight. There's so many casual fans out there that are calling this fight saying, sign the fight, this fight's going to happen now. But they're forgetting that this guy was in a car wreck and still needs to make sure he can get back right, and I'm not one of those guys that wants to see this guy go in there and take on one of the most dangerous fighters in the world, or one of the best fighters in the world with that. So to me, honestly, I can wait. That's my 2 cents. I can wait. I like the fact that these guys are talking trash to each other. I wasn't a fan of, Terrence and Tank going back and forth. Like I said, they got two different paths and two different things to worry about. So they need to just, cut that out. And, Terrence and Errol, that was the banner I kind of wanted to see, because with that talk and that type of, beef going on just online, of course, there's really no serious beef. We already know that potentially when Errol gets right, a fight will happen. And, like I said, just with this type of talk happening just right now, since it wasn't really going down too much before, they still are going to have to build this up. So we could spend the rest of this year where Terrence, he could actually be fighting some of these other PBC fighters to make some noise. He could fight some common opponents, and build himself up, while Errol, he's making the comeback of his, life, making sure he's good as far as physically, and fighting a tune-up fight, making himself look real good as far as, in that part, like it's a big comeback for him, and they could meet up in 2021, so yeah, man, I mean, there's a lot going for it, because even for like Terrence, jumping in there with Errol, he hasn't really fought the best competition either, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I definitely consider him number one as far as skill-wise, pound for pound, especially with what he did at 140, and, him winning the belt against Jeff Horn. But there's so many other fights that I would like to see Terrence Crawford in, and that's just me being a boxing fan. Like, I like to see, great fighters and potential great fighters tested. Like this year, Errol and Terrence Crawford and the Sean Porter fight does need to happen, or potentially Danny Garcia, because right now Terrence and Danny, they do have sort of the same turnaround time. Terrence just fought in December. Danny's fighting in January. He's going to be fighting in a few weeks. So they could probably meet up in like April or May. Danny and Terrence, that would be a good fight. Or again, Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter. I don't know why Bob Arum says those aren't good fights, but those are definitely good fights, because they are steps up from Amir Khan and the Mean Machine, and they'll tell us what he looks like against potential threats, guys that like Sean Porter, guys like Errol Spence. A guy like Errol Spence already, beat, you know what I mean? So yeah, there's just so much other stuff that can go on this year, but the Crawford Spence fight isn't happening this year. I just want people to know that. And for me, I don't want it to take place this year. It can wait till 2021. I want to make sure Errol Spence is good, and I feel like a lot of people should be in that mind frame. I don't know him personally, of course. That's why I'm just saying, as far as from the outside, and fighters you're fans of and you're watching, I definitely would like to see him wait it out and make sure he's good. But yeah, man, let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Do you think they should fight this year? Do you think it really will happen? Or do you feel like Terrence should go on and fight Sean Porter, and Errol Spence should just wait and fight a tune-up fight? Let me know in the comment section, guys. For real, that's all I got on this one. Like I said, I'll be going in more on the Jab Podcast with Boxing P. Just make sure y'all subscribe to those platforms, like I said. And yeah, I'm out. Peace.